let's talk a bit about the G1. We're going into the final week of the tournament. So the A block and B block are all figured out. The A block was won by SANADA, which we knew going into the weekend, but it was the fight for second place with Hikuleo emerging as the second place finisher with 8 points. And somewhat surprisingly, Kaito Kiyomiya out after losing what I thought was a terrific match with Ren Narita that saw the two draw upon their mentors. You had Narita using like Inoki spots. You had Kiyomiya channeling Masawa. And it was a really good match between them. But it was Ren Narita getting the big win. So the main event of the show, the main event in Osaka was Hikuleo against Shota Umino, which is the match it came down to. And Hikuleo won and thus finishes with 8 points and he advances.
A real big surprise. I think for a lot of us expecting to see Kaito Kiyomiya to meet Kazuchika Okada in one of the playoff stages here. Giving the spot to Hikuleo instead. I mean, this whole tournament I think has been about building, and certainly A Block has been about building new talents. I guess a lot of us just didn't necessarily see Hikuleo taking that step up above, the Three Musketeers, nor Kaito Kiyomiya, or even a Gabe Kidd. So
now the A block is done. How effective do you think this was in building new stars?
I think
is anyone coming out of this A block with an extra edge, some kind of momentum, or has stood out in terms?
For me, it's Gabe Kidd. He went from, I would say, relative unknown, and non-player in a New Japan scene to somebody that I really enjoyed. I think for the rest of them, like, it's been good to at least get them on a bigger stage. A lot of instances for people to kind of watch them perform. The time limit draws, I think, kind of became mini headline stories themselves. But again, like with the three of them, the Three Musketeers, I sense like this is very much a long game with them, and to start them off without any sort of significant result, I don't think is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one because I think it's I understand that thinking, and I wouldn't want to like throw these guys into the fire and there's that rejection, but I also feel like they've been on the come up, and I can understand, like, and Ghetto is more of a, I can't even say he's someone that always subscribes to the long game, because as we've seen, when he's ready for somebody, he pulls the trigger pretty quick. And you look at the Three Musketeers, and we're coming out of this, and it's a longer story. And then we look at Kiyomiya, and everyone figured his involvement here was to all roads lead to Okada, but it's a longer story. And I'm just looking at, the attendance for the G1, it's been disappointing. Like, they need something. And there's certain times when, yes, you build for the future and you're telling a longer story. There's other times you've got to just go and hit something big to spark your audience, to get something going. I'm not saying New Japan is flat, but it's like this G1 has been kind of the least amount of buzz, I would say, for a G1 in years.
Is that so? Even less than the pandemic period?
I mean, I kind of look at those as like outliers, but I would still say yes. Yeah.
For me, I mean, I certainly felt it because I think of how much content that you have to consume in order to keep up with it. And also the abundance of every like competing, product that's out there with AEW and countless others. So I could see that.
Well, I do think Hikuleo, like, it's like, I don't think this guy is going to be the big star a year from now, but I thought his match with Umino was probably his best of the G1. So it's just of all the candidates, this one probably surprised people the most, that he is going to the next round. The B block, it did come down to Okada and Ospreay, as most assumed. But my God, did you see Ospreay and El Phantasmo?
No, it's part of my long list of catch up matches I have to watch.
This might be the match of the tournament. It was phenomenal. It was my double XL if we have to go that route. So that match you have to go see from Sunday's show in Osaka. It was tremendous. Okada beat Tangaloa on the final day, and that you don't have to go out of your way to see. But
I saw some of that. Some of that made its way to Reddit, just specifically of Tangaloa's. Yeah, he's been doing this sort of like, oh man, awful.
It looked bad. I would say the match was not awful, but that alone, out of context, it's in context even, it was not good. I'm not defending the strikes looked bad, but it was not a memorable match that I would say you have to go see. So on Tuesday, it will come down to the C block, and we have Finley and Evil, along with Eddie Kingston with 8 points, and then Tamatonga and Shingo Takagi with 7. So the final day for the C block has Finley against Kingston, Evil against Shingo, and Tamatonga against Hanare, who is out of it. So my thought is that we likely end up with the winner of Finley and Kingston and the winner of Evil and Shingo will move on. There's also a way where there could be Tama and Shingo both ending, if they win their matches, they have 9 each, and they had a draw together. So you could end up with a playoff. But this one is definitely one of the more complex endings, but I don't know if it'll end up being all that complicated.
Who's your pick?
I'm going with Finley, and I'm gonna. I said Tamatonga at the beginning, but I'll say Finley and Shingo move on. That's my thought.
All right.
I think Eddie Kingston comes up short in this one. And then the D block will be on Wednesday. Cobb, Naito, and Zach all have 8 points, and all of them are facing guys who are out of it. So you could have some spoilers, and then it's just whoever gets the points will come in first. And so it's Cobb against Shane Haste, Naito against Tanahashi, and Zach against Goto. So Sabre has losses to Naito and Cobb, while Cobb has wins against Sabre and Naito if you get to any need for tiebreakers. I think Cobb he did the 4-0 run, and then he's lost his last 2. I think he's going to continue to fold, and Shane Haste plays spoiler. Shane Haste gets a win here and gets a second big upset in the tournament. And I'm still going with Zach and Naito to advance in the D block. So that's my thought there. And then we get into the playoffs. The playoffs will start on Thursday. So SANADA will take on the second place winner of the C block. Okada faces second place of the D block. Ospreay against the winner of the C block, and Hikuleo against the winner of the D block. Does all that make sense?
It makes total sense, John. But I think I have most of my interest in the E block, because the Post Wrestling Family E block standings in the G1 Climax contest over at postwrestling.com/G1.
Okay? This guy was ready to throw in the towel. I think I talked Brandon into having some optimism. Things right near the basement.
Things are really heating up here with Brandon Thurston now as our leader, atop with 63 points. But John Kleinchester is right behind him. Kleinchester has really been, the SANADA of this tournament so far, pretty much, holding that lead for the entire tournament until this last set of events. So we'll see if John Kleinchester can make it in these final events. And then a huge 3-way tie for third place between the Archivist, John Cena, and Lowdown Davey Portman, while I am in a one-man race towards the bottom with AI, Randobot. The two of us just trying to, see who can avoid coming out last. Wish me luck. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm stuck in the middle there. We'll see if I can catch Marcotte. Maybe even it would be Christmas if I could catch Braden, but that might be out of my reach. This ends with the round robin, correct?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.